Unfortunately, absolutely horrible earthquake. What was it? 7.7, I believe.
Yeah, and it happened in Burma, right?
Yeah, and Thailand.
Yeah, so Burma got the brunt of it.
Even parts of China,
Even
Yunnan.
parts of China, Yunnan, yeah, because it borders Burma.
Yeah.
But this building in particular made the rounds. You can play it.
Yeah,
There's a
so,
lot of content.
okay. We wanted to show you, this is a building that is obviously still under construction, but the main structural part of the building is up.
So the tons of architects started pouring in the comment sections of all these things. Experts were called in. They said, in no way, shape, or form under this earthquake, even though it was huge, should this building have fallen down.
Yeah.
Which makes sense when you see the other building.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Let's have a look what happened. This is in Bangkok. And you're like, why are we showing Thailand? We'll show you in a second.
Yeah.
This is really poetic, like when you think about China's imperialism around the world.
Yeah.
Turn it down a little bit.
Sure.
Just
You don't
have a
like to
little-
hear the
No, I mean, I just think
shouts
it'll
and
probably
screams?
get a little much. Look at that cloud coming in. Isn't that crazy how fast that was?
Yes.
And people died from that.
I just want to point out that, look, the building structures there, they've already started to put the cladding on.
It's got rebar.
Yeah, I mean, like the actual glass outside cladding is already being put on the building. So that means the main structure of the building is complete.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Down she comes. I mean, that must be crazy. Run. Yeah, I mean, that's incredibly scary.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. Also, like, look at the crappier buildings in the foreground. They're totally
they're fine,
okay.
right?
Mhm.
They didn't fall. And tall buildings too, which we'll show you in a second.
Oh, I mean, this was insane.
But you know what wasn't insane?
What? This
was the proof of who built this.
Yes, so I'll get us out of there for a second so you can see.
Warmly celebrate the successful completion of the main body of the Audit Bureau Office of the China Railway 10th Engineering Group Limited Thailand Project. Do you know what this is? It's the Belt and Road Initiative. China's neo-imperialism around the world that goes and builds shit structures, pardon my language, shit infrastructure projects, and gets these countries to be in debt to them for the rest of their existence.
The way they do it as well is horrible, because what they'll do is they'll come into, say, for instance, an impoverished African country and say, listen, we're going to help build schools and railways and all this kind of stuff for you. And it's going to be great because it's going to make local jobs and, you know, it's going to be good for the economy and all that. Once it's all signed off on, they actually end up not creating any local jobs because they bring in cheap labor, like slave labor from China.
Correct.
Make them live in horrible conditions, forced to work 24/7, you know, doing these long shifts, building this stuff. They build it to very low quality. By the time all is said and done, the African country now owns millions or billions in debt. And they have a crap project that doesn't last long, starts falling apart, never really worked in the first place, and didn't create local jobs.
When you said it well. When you have buildings being built in Asia, you want to hire the Japanese because they care about quality.
Correct.
Number two.
Or the Koreans.
Or the Korean. Oh, yeah. Okay. Any country other than China.
Pretty much.
Because at this point, I mean, you could make an argument that Chinese buildings are so advanced that they deconstruct themselves.
Sure.
But anyway, they're like globally sustainable, you know? No need for that anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, jokes aside, I'm tired of joking about this because I don't know when the world is going to wake up, because this happens all the time.
Yep.
And it seems like whether it's in Serbia, in Africa, in Thailand,
Montenegro.
in Laos, in Montenegro, we can rattle these off, right?
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. And every time we see some sort of massive infrastructure failure, like the in Addis Ababa, like the metro, right?
Yeah.
All of these massive projects fall apart, don't work, don't pay themselves off, or are not completed.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka, right? I can name these off all day.
Can you look up? Can you check if it was Zambia where the river got completely destroyed? You just say like Zambia River. Because
there was one in Montenegro, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. The mine disaster. Yeah.
A Chinese mining operation dumped chemicals into the river, which corroded and destroyed a dam.
It was actually acid. It was an acid spill.
Yeah,
You've heard an oil spill?
Yeah, it's an acid spill. Destroyed a dam, which then spread until it killed the river. Just killed it, like overnight.
And I'm not talking about the drug that makes you see stuff on the wall.
like actual acid. It's dangerous to put your trust in Chinese construction.
That's my point. Is I could rattle this off all day. I'm tired of making these PSAs. I just don't understand the appeal other than local corrupt politicians that cannot. They just want the Chinese money.
That's it. And that's always, in Africa, that's what it always is.
You know what you
It's
get when you have a
corruption.
Chinese building? It falls down.
Yeah.
All right. It falls down. Your dams burst. Your acid spills.
Yeah,
Your rivers are
your
polluted.
environment is destroyed.
Yeah. Your fish are gone.
Think about it this way. If China doesn't care to pollute and destroy its own environment,
country.
why would it care about your
It's
environment?
like in Star Wars, the Hutts, right? They
Yeah.
polluted their own planet and had to go elsewhere and do pollution, right? You'd think your own, you know, if you're this master like empire or whatever, you're going to keep your own place very pristine.
Sure.
That's what China used to do, right?
I mean, we showed you the pollution guy last time with the,
Yeah.
you know, the trash in the ocean and all that.
Yeah.
If China, you know, none of the water is drinkable in China, anywhere in the country. I'm not talking about Flint, Michigan. I'm talking about the entire country.
Yes.
There's a huge country. Not one area, you go north, south, east, west, can you find drinking water that you can drink out of the faucet. Not anywhere.
no.
They've destroyed the land when the majority of the land is contaminated. Why do you think they would care about your African country or your Southeast Asian country or whatever country it is?
True.
You know, it just doesn't
However,
make sense. What?
You choose China, you do get chemical fire waterfalls.
True.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that clip last week?
Yep.
Anyway, they had the great unveiling that had a rock quote on it. It says, Dazi.
yes, yes.
The rock tried to speak.
So here's a little insight into some of the things you might find in Chinese construction.
Like why this happened.
Yes.
Let's
like
just look at
fake
that.
rebar.
Guys, this was a new clip, by the way.
Yeah.
Pause that real quick.
Yeah.
The rebar is
this was not in that building, by the way.
D-bar.
Yeah.
You can debar this rebar. No, I'm saying this is the kind of stuff
this is
you
the
find
kind of
in
thing you
China.
find. Fake
In building
bricks,
materials.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of shortcuts. China's the land of shortcuts and facades. And if there's a way to make money, there's going to be money made by like taking shortcuts, putting in some substitute for an expensive building material.
You know, it's crazy. I'm looking at chat right now. People find this insane. Like, they find that rebar insane. We see that and we're like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
course,
Like,
yeah.
we lived in China for 10 years. Of course it's like that.
We just wanted to show you some of the other massive buildings during this earthquake. In Thailand, there are a lot of these buildings that have swimming pools on top because, you know, Thailand's got a big tourist industry. A lot of guys, you know, go there and do their nonsense and, you know, go to the beaches and whatnot, right? So you've got a lot of swimming pools, and it's quite fascinating to see all the swimming pools,
That is crazy,
you know,
isn't
like
it?
spilling.
But those didn't
But
fall
this
down.
bridge,
That's crazy.
Connecting the two skyscrapers.
That's like the Bridge podcast right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Just quality of
Yeah,
that.
exactly. yeah, good. That was
Anyway,
I mean,
this is crazy to see. Would you want to be on top of that build? Imagine seeing that while the earthquake's happening while you're on the
dude,
top.
it's terrifying.
Dude,
It's
that's
terrifying.
crazy.
Yeah, everything about this whole situation is terrifying. Earthquakes, natural disasters, horrible.
There's the Chinese building.
Yeah, but it seems like it's only the Chinese building that fell down.
That's what I find fascinating, is that you have all these other buildings in a relatively poor country that stand. They do not fall.
Yes.
Their pools collapse.
Look,
or
other
their
buildings.
pools
You saw
spill.
that one over there.
Yeah.
There was another building under construction. It didn't fall.
Didn't fall.
Yeah.
The Chinese building, BRI building, fell.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised at all.
No.
Are you?
No.
Not even in the slightest.
No.
In fact, it would be weird if the Chinese building didn't fall. You know what I
At this
mean?
point.
At this point.
At this
you know.
point. But yeah. Anyway, like it's still a horrible disaster. I know there's still rescue efforts happening.
Yeah.
And I would just really hope that as many people can be saved are saved.
Absolutely.
You know what
I remember you lift my spirit.
I mean? Dude, does that look comfortable to you?
In fact, this is the most dystopian nightmare of non-reality that you can't do.
Yeah.
I think it's mushrooms mixed
Which
with
doesn't make it
slices-
better.
Slices of grapefruit. We have the lamest YouTube names.
We do.
Ever. He's not the victim.
But he's a flowery public thing. I mean, she had a lot of space to go take a dump in the back there. We've got nice questions. Okay, pleasant questions. In the black bag, we've got nasty questions.
How would you explain your kinkiest impulse to your grandma without her disowning you if she were alive?
Wow.